time to play the game. Time to play the game. It's all about the game and how you play it. All about control, and if you can take it, all about your debt. And if you can pay it, it's all about pain. And who's gonna make it? I am the game, you don't wanna play me. I am control, no way you can shake me. I am heavy debt, no way you can pay me. I am the pain, and I know you can't take me. Look over your shoulder, ready to run.
Hello everyone, I'm your host Jay Houslander of the Junior Hockey Network Hockey Show. I'm here today with Greater Metro Hockey League Coach GM Nathan Parrish of the Meaford Knights. How are you today, Nathan?
Good, Jay. Thanks for the call, and appreciate your time.
After, like you say, you stepped down as being the coach with the Knights to take over the general manager position, and a couple weeks ago you stepped behind the bench for the second time. Can you just comment about taking over the reins behind the bench?
Yeah, we made the executive made a decision a couple of weeks ago for that decision to be made for me to be back behind the bench. Glad to be back with my assistant coach and trainers from the past couple of years, and I feel we have a good team in place to push our guys from when we've taken over to the end of the season here.
And like I say, now with only about 2.5 months, just over 2.5 months into the season so far, can you touch base on how the season's going in your opinion for the Knights?
Yeah, I feel we're off to a good start. To date, we've played, I believe, 23 games. We're 14-6-3 with 31 points. Good enough for fourth place at the moment, and one point out of third place, and 3 points out of second. So it just shows how tight things are right now. I know there's teams behind us that are pushing as well. So I feel we've been off to a good start, and it's in 5 years, it's been our best record to start the season. So we're happy.
And this past weekend, you went 1-1, and like I say, as a coach, you always rather be 2-0. But you had a 6-2 win over the ninth place Seguin Huskies, and then a 3-1 loss to the second place Spartans. Can you comment on the team's performance of those two games?
For sure, yeah. No, Saturday night we were at home to Seguin. Seguin came in, and it was a tighter than a 6-2 game for sure. It was real close up until the end of the second, I believe. Then we pulled out 4-2 and got a couple more in the third. But Seguin is definitely not a ninth place team. Their guys are working hard. They have system in place that their coaches have put in place, and definitely the record doesn't speak for the caliber of team that they are. So kudos to them. They're coming in and pushing everybody, which is great for our division because there's no easy nights here. And then going into Sunday yesterday, we played Almaguin. We were right there. We were 1-0, 2-0. Then they got to 3, and then we scored one late. We pulled our goalie and pushed. But definitely a tough arena to play in. We've never had any luck there in 5 years, so a tough building to win in. But and that goes for every team in our division. I don't think Almaguin has lost at home yet this year, so tough barn to play in. But a 3-1 game. It was good. There was a good crowd, and then everybody was into it. We pushed at the end, like I had said earlier, and just unfortunately came up a little bit short.
Now, does one team have your number? Is there a nemesis for you guys so far this year?
Well, being in fourth place, the three teams that are ahead of us, the Bradford, the Temiskaming, and Almaguin are definitely teams you want to call nemesis just because they are ahead of you, and you want to get points from them when you have the opportunities to catch them. So not necessarily one nemesis so far, just those three teams that are sitting in front of you are definitely a thorn in your side, and you hope to get points from them when you can, and hopefully when they come to us and play in our arena that we can get those points.
And like we were talking earlier, like say off air, is sometimes there's a misconception about the GMHL sometimes and the caliber of hockey in the GMHL. If you were talking to a potential prospective player come to Meaford, how do you I guess sell the Meaford Knights to their prospective players?
Yeah, like it's definitely a different brand. It's a fast-paced play and a little different style than you would normally see, but definitely skilled players and definitely high-paced. I feel strongly that our good teams in our league are definitely contenders with other teams and other divisions and other leagues. But in the 5 years I've been around, it just continues to get stronger, whether it be from, ownerships or scouting or coaching. All those things play a role and pushing our brand to be stronger. And, it definitely has increased every year that I've been involved with it, for sure.
And how does like say with the GMHL with the 21-year-olds allowed to play compared to Hockey Canada where like I say they end at 20?
Yeah,
How does that change the caliber of the GMHL?
yeah, definitely the 21-year-olds keep the pace of our game up, for sure. Without them, it's a little slower pace, but those guys are still trying to get to different places in life and in the hockey world. And it's good for our younger guys that are coming in, practicing every day, training with them, learning the way. And you hope that your 21-year-olds are your best people and your best players, so that they're good role models for the guys that are looking up to them, for sure.
And that's where a lot of the 21-year-olds I've watched over the last 10 years for the Greater Metro is not every player, and it doesn't matter what sport, but we're talking hockey, is not all of them develop at the same times, and that's where the Greater Metro, some of the 21-year-olds develop later on, and they get the exposure and get to move on to, if it's school or semi-pro in the States or in Europe, it just gives them another year to develop, right?
Exactly. Yeah, we're on the ice pretty well every day, and hopefully, a late developer, just been slipped through the cracks somewhere, hasn't been seen, just didn't play on a day that there was a scout in the stands, or it just gives him another full year opportunity to develop, and you hope that he gets the right chance at carrying on, because there's a lot of good kids playing in this league that are 21 that. After Christmas, they start to say, "Oh, what am I going to do next?" Because they don't know where next year is going to take them, for sure.
And that leads us in the next question, where you have Tyler Storts, forward with you guys, a 21-year-old from Lockport, Illinois, and Graham Jamel, who's one of your goalies from Godfrey. They're both 21-year-olds. Tyler ended up 8th last week in the power rankings, and Graham ended up 3rd. And that
Yeah,
talks about your roster with having two 21-year-olds within the
yeah,
top 10,
no,
right?
it's been great to have both those guys that you mentioned. Tyler, I feel he came in good shape, and he got off to a good start. And same with Graham. We played some tough teams at the start with New Tech, and Graham got off to a great start. And some of those bigger teams that were expected to do well, we were competing with, and that gave those guys a good name early. It's been tougher on them of late, just because teams, start to bear down. They start to know their systems. They start to watch video of other teams and seeing who their top guys are. And teams have shutdown roles, and all of a sudden the ice becomes smaller, just because teams are in your face. They know who your top guys are, and they're looking for them. And the same goes when we play other teams as well. So being prepared and knowing who other teams' top guys are, so that you can keep an eye on them, sure makes the ice a lot smaller, for sure.
Now, like say, talking about Meaford, like say, me and you know where Meaford, Ontario is, but if you're talking to somebody who didn't know where Meaford is and they're looking to send their son to play for the Knights, where exactly is Meaford, Ontario?
Well, we're right in between Owen Sound and Collingwood. We're probably 30 minutes to each center. So it's smack dab on Georgian Bay, just in between Owen Sound and Collingwood, like I had said.
So when they're coming to Meaford to play for the Knights, they're like the big fish. Big fish in the small
Yeah,
pond, right?
they are, for sure. They can't do much without someone knowing who they are. That it's definitely from the guys that have played here in the past can testify for. You can't go downtown to get gas or a slice of pizza at the pizza store just because kids are wanting autographs, or someone are saying, "How's the team doing?" or "You're struggling right now," or all those things come into play when the guys are in town. Everyone knows in a small town who you are, and the guys, I think, appreciate all the fan support that we get here. And it's been a real good thing so far for all the guys that have experienced it.
Well, this weekend, like I say, could be a big week for Meaford, with the Knights meeting third place Rattlers on the 30th, and then who are only 1 point ahead of you guys, and then on the second, You guys are playing the fifth place Pirates, who are only 4 points back of you guys. So the top of the standings is quite tight. Can you talk about this upcoming weekend and what you guys have to do to be successful?
Yeah, for sure. We see Bradford here on Thursday. We've split so far 1-1 with Bradford. I think we beat them 6-4, and they beat us 5-3 in their barn. So I'm hoping that the home ice stays to our advantage, and they have a real good team, strong forwards up there in Bradford. So we need to contain their scoring power, and hopefully we can get the 2 points like we did a couple of weeks back from them. And then heading into Saturday, we're in Ville Marie, which is, I believe, 5.5, 6 hour bus trip. So we plan on getting away a little bit early and spending some time around the town of Ville Marie. We haven't played in their barn yet, but I hear it's a really good venue as well. Good crowd, and the fans are pretty passionate there. So should be a good venue for our guys because they're used to playing in front of a crowd, and hopefully it gives them the energy and the push to, leave Ville Marie with 2 points.
And that's one thing about, I guess, the benefit of most of even the North Division, but of the Greater Metro League is most of your games are within just a couple hours at the most, except for like Temiskaming and Val Marie. You're more or less home every night, more or less, for your games. Where other leagues in Ontario sometimes, like say, are traveling 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, and they say then they do another road trip an hour away and another road trip the following night. Then they're home. Where you guys are home quite a bit. So for the Greater Metro, it's nice. There's not as much traveling, right?
Yeah, those long bus trips are definitely long, and you appreciate the 2 hour bus trip as opposed to the 5 and 6 hour bus trips. We just did maybe a month ago where we were 4 games in 4 days, and we spent the night North Bay. We played Temiskaming, and we were up in the Seguin area, and it's definitely tiring and wears you down. And we happened to split that weekend 2 and 2, but it definitely, by the end of the weekend, it's definitely a bit of a grind for sure with all that travel.
Well, Nathan, thank you very much, and hopefully we can do this again in the new year, and good luck this weekend.
Thanks, Jay. Appreciate your time with the Junior Hockey Network, and best of luck to you, and thanks again.